finally put a pipe in and it had like a lid or something on one side. So it would be closed off, and then when the one side drained out, then it could be opened up. And I would not be opposed to something like that. I just got no way for that water ever to drain.
Well, you could sure put an equalizer pipe in there and see what happens. Like Phil says, you really need to clean that ditch all the way going through there if you're gonna do that.
Through Seward? Through Seward then, or?
That east ditch, yeah. Otherwise, I think what would happen is you just take what water until you equalize, and then you got water standing on both sides of the road.
Okay, so what you're saying is, if you put the crossroad pipe in, and then you don't put a pipe in this entrance.
Yeah, I'd put one in that entrance too.
That's what I was wondering.
Some of that would go to the south one.
Yeah, I think eventually it will. I'm pretty sure, without having some numbers in front of me, that it would eventually go that way, yes.
Well, you guys were praying for rain 2 years ago.
Yeah, we don't need any more rain this fall.
And the trouble is, like when I was on York Township Board, when it's wet, everybody's worried about it, but when it's dry, you can't get nobody to talk about it.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
That's very true.
Imagine that.
It's like fixing the roof. It's not raining, don't need it.
Yeah, don't worry about it, it'll rain.
That's the thing I was after, try to keep from happening like Bob, his whole basement wall caved in, and a lot of it was from that water. You know, like I say, it had to come through town to get back where, and it did drain once it got around there.
Is that the township line going up that road?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
So you got two townships in there?
Yes, you got north.
And the county.
Well, in fact, you're in the corner of the township, 3 townships right there.
Right there.
It splits right there
Yeah,
from
townships.
Four
from-
townships.
From, yeah, quarter.
We'll get them all to chip in $10,000, then you pretty well got it going.
well, I was wondering if we could get some kind of figures together. I don't know if that would qualify under some of that FEMA stuff or not for the city of Seward.
A lot of FEMA stuff's done right now.
They got another deal now where
Stafford
small
County.
town improvement or
Oh,
something.
okay. FEMA does, or?
No,
that's just
no,
a
it's
grant?
totally different deal.
Might be a grant or something in there.
Yeah, but first we need some prices, you know, so we know what we're talking about.
Well, the one thing you do want to be careful is you don't want to change the natural flow of water, and I'm not sure what the natural flow of water would be up there. And once you do that, then you get the Division of Water Resources and Ag Department and all sorts of people involved, and you'd be forever and a day getting the permits done.
Well, is there some way we can get together and get this thing studied out, like Fred's saying, and find out what kind of a cost there is to make the problem go away? I mean, maybe not go away, but at least help it.
That'd be a question for you.
Well, you mean just the cost of construction and the cost of pipe?
Yeah, isn't that kind of what you,
Yeah, something, you know. As far as water flow, I can't see, and I'm not smart, but from Seward East, I can't see how they'd cause a problem. That's one heck of a ditch there.
Well, because you go back to the original plans, and that's I guess that's what bothers me, is in the original plans, it doesn't show up a crossroad pipe there, and there had to be a reason why. because I mean, that had to be all engineered out before the road was put in there in 52. Wouldn't have been, isn't that right?
Was that done with KDOT money, you know?
Yeah, it's, yeah, Kansas Highway, well, it's Kansas Highway Department, the Highway Commission, I guess, or Highway Department.
Yeah, it would have been engineered.
And that seems to be when the whole problem started, is when they put that road in.
Well, so many things have changed too. They tell me at one time on the north edge of Seward, there was a pretty good ditch going down through there, where some of that water went around Seward and back down to that ditch, and that over the years it's built up too. There is no ditch at all. There is from Seward Main Street east, but from Seward Main Street west, that ditch is all filled in, and you know that affects a lot of stuff too. But that's township too. They was gonna clean it out this spring, and then I don't know what happened to that. All of a sudden now they're not gonna do anything.
Yeah, they told for 7 years, I think they said they've been gonna clean that out. And of course, then you get a different trustee on there or something, and then everything changes, so.
Yeah, because that would be North Seward Township.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there used to be ditches in there. They had an excavator in the 70s at one time, they come in and had nice ditches in there. And that's what I understand, you know, when anything, you have to maintain anything, you know?
Sure.
And that's what I can't understand, is why nobody wants to do anything now. All I know, we've got a big issue over there. And it's frustrating when, you know, one party
Oh,
never
I
wants to work
understand your
with the other.
frustration, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that
Yeah. No, like I said, I understand your frustration. I mean, all I'm saying is that this thing has been engineered out, and why they didn't put a pipe in there, I have no idea.
but it looks like there should be one there.
Yeah, it does. It looks like there should be.
Yes,
But I'm sure there was a reason there wasn't.
yes.
And what the reason is, I have no way of knowing.
Is there any reason you changed your mind since, like
I was
spring or
just-
something?
I was just reluctant to dump all this water into sewer.
That you brought your excavator out and left it there since spring?
Well, it had been there since August.
No, that's been there since spring.
No, since
Yeah,
August.
no, it's been there since spring.
Oh.
I'll guarantee it. Fred?
No, we used it in August down on South Stafford.
I think
And then we hauled it.
you're mistaken there.
Okay.
We kept watching it,
Yeah,
wondering when something was gonna happen.
it's been there since spring. I've had a mower around it all summer.
Is there some way we can work this thing to get some kind of cost or something?
Well, like Harry said, I think if you're gonna do this, do you need to do a study on it? I mean,
Well, I don't think you need to do a study on it. Bite the bullet and put a crossroad pipe in, make sure you get it long enough, and put an entrance pipe in. What's that gonna cost? I don't know what you guys are paying for pipe now. $30 a foot?
I won't run quite that much. Depends on how big a pipe. Can't have too big a pipe because all the pipes downstream are down the way, or not all that big a pipe.
I don't think you want it to move fast, do you? Just move.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't,
fine with that.
I don't believe it'll move fast. I mean, it's kinda like the water running out of Radium, there's a foot drop between Radium and a mile north. So the water just, it takes a while to get the water out of Radium, and we do have really big rains, and I think this situation's a lot like that.
I'd say don't put too big a pipe in there, just try it.
I think that would be my recommendation, just put those two pipe in and see what happens.
And maybe if it gets into survey, we can work on that end to get it all through there then.
Well, would we have to stand the total cost of cleaning the ditches and the culvert and the whole works then if it goes through town? I mean, just to give me an idea so I can go back to council. Would we be responsible for the total cost?
Well, it's in the city limits,
And we've done some work for some other,
well, you have that city,
some other
trade off or
cities.
something like
and,
it, probably could trade off a little work.
Yeah. But I mean, the work in town needs to be done first.
Right. If not, you're just transferring the problem from one place to
Well,
another.
because if something happens and you get like all this 6-inch rain what we just
Yeah.
had, then you're really causing a problem because you're dumping all the water there and then it can't get out and then everybody is gonna be upset.
Yep.
I visited with Don Punsack over there after you guys did that work there last week, and he said, well, he had no opposition against it. He said as long as like where the co-op is, you know, make sure that culvert was in there, you know. that-
Oh, yeah, it's gotta be opened up there.
Yes.
When they done that study, was there anything as far as what size culvert should be in there?
There wasn't a study done.
Well, no, there wasn't. Well, in your opinion, if I go to the co-op, what size pipe do you think needs to be put in that driveway to be right?
You haven't got enough room. You haven't got enough room.
Well, it can't be any bigger than the pipe to the east of it, Fred.
Okay,
And you're probably looking.
so the same size?
You're gonna be lucky to get a 24 in there and
Yeah.
get any cover over to where you can.
Well,
protect
all I was
the
getting at is-
On your pipe, because I imagine you're running some trucks across that thing.
All I was getting at, I hate to see them put a culvert in and not be right, and then be right back where we started from. That's,
Because I think the biggest pipe up there in town is probably gonna be 24-inch. And that may be over there at Main Street.
Well, why don't you get some figures together and see where we're at? And that way, you know, at least you'll have an idea of what to take to the city and we'll work upstream. Estimate how many hours it'd take to clean out the ditch and do a cost share on that.
Okay.
See what the pipe's gonna cost.
Okay.
Get the co-op involved in this too, or they.
Well, they should pay for that.
I'm
should
gonna
pay for
pressure
it all.
the
Yeah,
co-op a
they
little.
should pay
They should
for
pay
that.
for
I'm gonna pressure the co-op a little bit because to me, they got a little bit of liability there.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, if Bob would have been not as nice a guy as he is, you know, somebody'd been hollering about that. And like I say, I talked to the guy that filled it in, and it wasn't an accident. They told him to fill it in. Right then, somebody should have got on him.
Yep.
Nobody realized it.
And you
went
say
on-
there's 4 townships involved in this?
No,
No?
but
No.
basically all this is in North Seward Township.
North Seward and the city?
But all this we're talking about is along our right of way. So it's really got nothing to do with North Seward, but it dumps the water into a ditch that North Seward maintains,
Okay.
But, you know,
out to the east.
if they can get them to open that one up on the north side, would it alleviate some of the problem?
That'd be the simple way to fix it. But I don't know I don't know if you're gonna get that done or not. And it was there at one time, but you know how the sand is, it just,
Keeps shifting, doesn't it?
because basically from the church west is where the ditch is filled in. It all needs cleaned out a little bit, but there is a ditch from the church all the way to the corner east.
The ditches are higher than the road, west of the church.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, I appreciate everybody discussing it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Pleasure to see you again.
Thanks, Jerry.
Good to see you, Lee.
Take care.
Good to see you, sweetie.
So good. Commissioners?
Kevin.
How are you?
Good
All
morning.
right, you,
Good. My stuff's just information only. Good. Only anything's fine. Yeah. Last 4 days, actually, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I was at Disaster Command and Emergency Operations class training. You got some very valuable information out of that class. What we need to do, I think we can, how to go about it. So we all need to get together sometime in the near future. Actually, all the department heads need to be involved also. Because we're going to play key factors into the EOC. Also, what do we want to do over at the annex building as far as EOC goes. The NIMS and FEMA regulations are 50 to 85 square foot per person. So that's probably going to put a spin on things. The good thing is, any good EOC operating facility should be a multi-purpose area. So boardrooms, training facilities, everything else should be incorporated in that. So it's not just one specific area, because that's just a waste of money and space. So if we can all get together sometime and go through all that. There's actually an incident command that is geared strictly for elected officials. So
Everyone's supposed to be trained.
everyone's supposed to be trained, but there is one, I believe it's ICS 203, but don't quote me on it, I wrote it down. It's strictly for elected officials, and their roles and responsibilities. So anytime we want to bring state or anything else in, you all have to sign off on it and everything else. So this is a pretty big animal we have to tackle. And there's ways where we can cut the fat, so to speak. So we all have to get together and see where we want to go. I did find out that Grant County, they have a huge communication trailer that's available to us at any time. We just call for it.
Oh, really?
Yes. I mean, a
Where
lot
about
of,
you say, which county?
is it Grant? Or-
Grant, that,
Yes. And they're available, we just have to call them. I got, actually, the gentleman in charge of that, I got a lot of cards this week. Great contacts, and it's fabulous contacts. Don Button, who was the coordinator for their evening program. Also made contact with Catherine Hernandez, who's the coordinator for Phoenix County Emergency Management. A couple other people that are more than willing to help us out if we want to go look at their facilities. So as far as knowing that this huge communication trail is available to us, really
That's great.
limits us to what we have to do here, except for the basics. We can go as minimal as what they call an EOC in a box. It's basically, that's what it is. You have your facility and everything running, but you just bring your radios and everything you need out in the box to a bigger, full-blown facility. And there's a lot of different ones out there. I think we should probably research those whenever we can and go from there. These classes were fantastic. I learned a lot of valuable information on that. On that note also, since I already had, talking to the Adjutant General, since I already had Incident Command 100, 200, 700 for FEMA and NIMS, they just sent us a check for $1,000 towards that. So bringing me in already pays off already. So, so here's a check towards emergency management for $1,000. A lot of good things are coming out of this. So as soon as we can get together, I guess all of us look at options, get all the department heads on board. And all roles and responsibilities, we have to come up with some kind of protocols, SOGs, for the EOC itself. So, a lot of work to do, but like I said, there's a lot of great contacts. Just a phone call away. They'll ship us anything we need. Their protocols, their information, what they can and can't do for us. And I also got all this information on thumb drive. All their overheads and projections, and I have all their, what they call their toolbox with all the forms and everything we need for our EOC.
Was this in Topeka?
No, this is actually in Garden City.
Oh.
They have another class, I think, coming up through the through rescue training, who put this on, I think in February, April, in Lawrence. But the guys who put this on actually went through Katrina, 9/11, Mississippi, New Orleans, so they know what works, what doesn't work. It's trying to be a good course. So, next time it comes up, if we're willing to send some more people through it, it's a free course, which was almost a bonus.
Yeah.
So that's very valuable. I've also been put on the Barton Community College Advisory Board for Emergency Services. So since we have them now through our EMT program out here, it'll be a good idea to kind of have an idea of what's going on. That's the big thing. We did get some insurance checks back from a lot of the trucks that were damaged and pump that went out, so we're getting those checks back in. So we're getting some money back. That's always a good thing. I had to send all the information to the insurance companies and let them figure out what was what and let their estimators do their job. So they're starting to see some money back.
This Barton County thing, does that make, or you can take over this construction or help out in?
I can help out if the college allows me to. That's in the last conversation, we might have to give a little push there. Whether or not I have to actually be on their payroll or not to be an adjunct instructor, I guess that would be up to you, whether you would allow that or not. But I've already talked to Kara, who's an instructor down there. She actually wants to come back on the service as an EMT. And talk to her about that and then bring her back in. And I've told her, I've given her a lot of my information already, and basically just told her if you need some help, just call me. And until we can get where my roles and responsibilities are for the college, I'm more than happy just to step in and say, hey, I'm here to help. As long as it doesn't cause me conflict. That's the big issue right there, and I'm working on that, so whenever we can get everybody together and start, get the process rolling.
All right.
Okay.
What's, question probably I'll ask every week, the status of the mitigation plan?
That's still, I have a couple more things to get from Doris. She has them. We're trying to coordinate, get the information from her. And I did with that grant that you signed 2 weeks ago. I have to send my payroll, as far as personnel and payroll, to the state, as far as reimbursement for mitigation issues for training. Right now, the figures, the rough figures, they'll reimburse up to $14,000 for training and for issues as far as mitigation, emergency response. So I have to get all that to them. It's basically getting everything together. So.
I know there was an article in the Hutch paper last week or whenever about the mitigation plan and FEMA and et cetera, and I've noticed that in some of the political ads in Wichita for the Board of Education on how many schools have safe rooms, et cetera, et cetera. So
I actually have to get over and talk to superintendent over there. I have a meeting with him to go over safe room, be trained on some AEDs. We actually have 4 of our old AED units that was replaced when we got those old monitors, which I'd probably like to donate those to the school and train them on how to use them, because they are, right now they're sitting collecting dust. Might as well let the school district use them and train them on how to do that. Also go over their safe room and see what the mitigation plan is. They have to be brought in this EOC issue also.
Because I was thinking all this, everything we've been doing so far is going to probably be incorporated into this.
Yes.
Mitigation,
Mitigation,
hazardous,
everything. The emergency response plan, that's all has to be put in there. Plus we have to write separate, I want to write SOGs, standard operating guidelines, because when you write SOPs, procedures, it limits anyone to their availability, how they can branch off. You're stuck in a certain guideline. If we have guidelines, we can kind of fudge or use your best judgment kind of issues. But everyone in there has to have SOGs. So the school district or whoever their representative is has to have specific SOGs and how they work, and so there's a lot of paperwork now. So we have to start crunching and getting everybody back.
So if we have a toxic spill, you know, highway, railroad or something, does it still have to be the hazmat out of Wichita? Would
Right
have to
now it
come?
does. The equipment we have on the trucks right now would have no use on.
Mhm.
Our role right now would be to evacuate people. That's our only role right now. We are very ill-equipped right now to do any kind of mitigation, any kind of hazard issue. We're way behind the eight ball. So I'm working on that, trying to get some more grant funding, going through these issues, trying to find out what we can do with our minimal budgets and who do we call, which relies a lot on you guys to sign that paper.
Right.
Because we have to have the paperwork signed, you can call state in. When state gets involved, then it becomes their baby. And all the forms in that toolkit have to be signed properly and filled out, especially if you want reimbursement from FEMA. So I'm sure you all know that, so. It's basically making sure all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Because if they come in here and they pull up an SOG or our emergency preparedness plan or anything and say, this is not in here. Trouble. So,
Well, it's always concerned me of what's traveling on the highway or the rails, you know.
You never
well,
get
see,
it.
and I talked to my guys and said, when have we ever had a train stop out here and have training on it? Because they will. They'll stop a train. We can actually train on the train. I said, how many people know where the emergency diesel fuel shutoff switch is? I said, maybe we should probably learn that. So that was another one of the things I'm going to bring out as far as training. You know, what do we do if a train derails out here? How do we turn the engine off, shut the fuel off? Issues like that. So that's training I have lined up. I also have KU. I have contacted KU to have one of the big 500-gallon propane tank simulator training out here. We're going to light one of those off a couple times and train on those. Because there's just a couple people apparently in this county that have propane.
Oh, maybe one or two.
A few, yeah.
And a few anhydrous tanks.
Right. So there's a lot of, and that training would be nominal. They would bring the trailer out. They would bring the pony trailers with the propane and everything, and how to actually attack a propane that's on fire and shut it off. Which I think a lot of those knows. That's a great PR thing too, because the public can come in here. That's really cool. It shoots that flame about 100 feet in the air. It's fun.
Yeah.
So, the burn, we are setting something up for Maxville, a house we have out there for some live burn training. I've made some contacts, possibly even getting some high-powered instructors from New York out here to help with the training on that. They're bringing some IR cameras out, infrared, FLIR cameras. A lot of new training I've got lined up. We have vehicle extrication training on the 22nd of November for the EMT students and for all of our guys. I have tried to get Burst, Halmatro, and a couple other rescue tool equipment places to come out here and let us play with their equipment to see what's best for us in this area. So that's all lined up so far.
So you've been busy.
Very good. I also have a class December 5th and 6th outside of Hutch for grant writing. It's a big grant writing class. I show you all the secrets
Yeah.
of the grant writing.
I'm sure there's some secrets.
Oh, there's a lot of secrets. And since there's like, I don't know, 1.5 million grants out there, which is the best way to go, which is more likely to be passed through. Our big issue here now is our population per square mile, which kind of hurts us.
Right.
So if we could find a way to, this is going to be a sore subject, get all the departments together into one department, it will extremely help our grants. And our ISO ratings. Our ISO ratings will drop. Because right now they look at Stafford County's ISO with the equipment you have and the personnel. They take into account the equipment you have on the truck, your hoses, the ability to fight fires, your water supply, and everything else. Well, when we have a city fire department and a county fire department, it actually goes against each other. Now, if you can incorporate those two, now instead of having, I know, that's why it's a sore subject, if you, instead of having one fire truck here in the city of the county, and 2 fire trucks with the city over here, you now have 3 fire trucks. Instead of having 600 feet of hose, you now have 1,200 feet of hose. So it all drops your ISO ratings, which saves the taxpayers money, which gives us the ability to go after more grants, because now our department has more utilized equipment, more personnel. And then you take those calls and lump them together, which all benefits. So I don't know how we want to, if you wanted to try to broach that subject or not. I think it's definitely a benefit for the community. And it would actually save, it would save the city a lot of money. It would actually gain us equipment and money. So they could either contract with the county or however we see fit to do that. So it would actually save the city a lot of money.
I know that since you're new, the other question I came up with was, are there other counties that have one fire department?
Yes.
Do you know?
Actually, Chief Patterson and Hutch, I have a call-in with him. He actually merged departments over there. So that would be a great contact. The area that I came from, we had a county fire department and then another St. Peter's area county department. Well, those 2 departments merged into one. And the tax basis was readjusted and everything else. So not only for the ISO rating will drop, your tax base would also drop, because now you merge the taxes. So there's a lot of departments out there that have done it, especially smaller rural departments, to utilize their resources better. The problem you run into is the political issue, which I'm sure you're well aware of.
Who wants to be boss?
Who wants to be boss? And that's more of a elected official thing. But the good thing about this is, they still run the city, you still run the county. They just contract fire service. That's it. Just throwing out numbers, say that their budget is $300,000 a year for their fire service. I don't know what it is. And instead of paying $300,000 for the fire service, we would actually probably lease their trucks for $1 a year. And then they would give us $150,000 a year fire service protection. So that's a saving of $150,000 right up top. Then it drops the ISO ratings, it drops the insurance ratings, and the tax base will each year. So they actually get better service.
And insurance is no small item if you can drop that down.
No, it's a huge item.
You know,
And it's all based
We've always
on,
been against it up here. We seem like we can't only get so far on this where we're at.
and the
We
big
can't lower the
issue
rates.
is the department disparities, and they take into account manpower, trucks, equipment on trucks, the hoses on trucks, the ability to get water on the scene. So if you have 2 trucks on the scene that can actually pump water in draft in a certain amount of time frame, it drops your ISO rating. And I don't think anybody's really understood that.
Probably not.
I really need to look into that.
So there'd be a campaign started.
Right, and that would actually boil down to, which it always does, what the citizens want. Because if you get a majority vote that the citizens want to merge into the county, then that's just the way it is. So it's one of those campaigns of, here's how much money you'll save, et cetera.
Right.
All right,
So much to probably look into.
all right, good idea, thanks.
Anything for me?
So call schedules are all full, overflowing.
We're actually doing very well.
Good.
I've only had a couple minor instances, which I ended up going on call, which I don't have a problem with that. I actually transported a couple times in the back of the ambulance. No big deal, but minimal. The biggest thing, the problem we've had right now is changing the 10 code issue and the radio language. Because with NIMS and FEMA, you cannot use 10 codes at all.
Oh, really?
It's a violation. So everybody was using 10 codes on the radio, we can't do that. Everybody has to speak, as they call it, plain English. Simple verbiage, so everyone understands what you're talking about. So if Pratt comes in or State comes in, or Garden City pulls their people in, we can all talk, we all know what we're talking about. If we start using 10 codes, they don't know what we're talking about. Pratt still uses 10 codes, we're trying to talk to them. They were trying to talk to me in 10 codes, I had no idea what they were talking about. So when we talk about mass incident, everybody pulling in, everybody has to speak the same language. And it's the,
That makes sense.
and I call it the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up another question. On communications in the county, do we have transmitters now that can we talk to, say, Barton County or Pawnee County or Pratt County via
We
the
do have
radio?
some frequencies that we can contact them and talk to them if they're close enough. Right now, if I would go to Pratt, I'm dead. It doesn't get through. Our repeaters are not set up for longer distance. So when I would go over the Pratt County line, if I'd actually get to Pratt, my walkie-talkies doesn't work. And even my mobile is very limited. So that's one thing we also, a study we have to look at is as far as towers, repeater towers, and different frequencies. So right now we have a couple of TAC channels that are unified, that we can talk to other people. But then we also have to have the ability to have open channels that are just that open, so we can switch to them. Hopefully, if we pulled in that mass communications trailer, that would take care of a lot of the issues. But the other issue is we do not have the repeater towers to transmit. So that's another study, and I want to talk to Don and see how he's doing it out there, and the feasibility study of how much it's actually going to cost. So I can call the government and say I want some more money. But those are the big, huge issues we've got to overcome. A lot of dead spots in the area. Yeah.
So you'd have to rely on a cell phone, or you have to?
Well, we have to have, as far as NIMS is concerned, actually it's a requirement, we have to have redundant systems on everything. Redundant systems on radios, redundant systems on communication itself. So if the radios go down, we can switch to cell phones.
220 St. John EMS standby for emergency page.
What are the redundant systems? Who's the Altel's out here right now? What happens if the Altel tower out here goes down?
St. John EMS needs you to respond to 281 at Antrim Road. Should be 7 miles south of Highway 50. St. John EMS
I changed the
needs you to
dispatch
respond to
also.
281 at Antrim Road or 7 south of Highway 50. Has a female that was torn by a cow in the leg. RP advised that he is bleeding quite a bit at this time.
I think I'll go on that one.
Okay.
We'll finish this discussion.
All right.
All right, thanks. Anybody else have anything else right now?
No.
We're recessed. Okay, we're back in session. Anyone else? Anything this morning? Yep. I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So we
We are adjourned.